We're going to talk about the different type of properties that could be purchased in Costa Rica. We first have what it's called, what it's commonly called title property. In Costa Rica will be propiedad registrada or title property. And let me just talk about three different kind of properties that we can find. And this is not in a specific legal name, it's just for the explanation. We can talk about urbanization, we can talk about agricultural, and we can talk about condominium. And I first need to say that in Costa Rica we have a huge public registry, one of the biggest public registries in all Latin America, and very well done, and all it's with computers and digital, etc. This public registry is divided in different sections. We have the property section, we have what is called a commercial section for corporations, we have a mortgage section, and so on. And properties are registered there at the public registry. And in order to be registered, or once it's registered, they are going to get a number which in Spanish in Costa Rica, it's called folio real. When you hear the word folio real, means the number of the property. Mm-hmm. This folio real is divided in three sections. One first digit, I'm going to put 1 here as an example, that means the province where the property is located. So 1 is San Jose, 2 is Alajuela, 3 is Cartago, 4 is Heredia, 5 Guanacaste, 6 Punta Arenas, 7 Limón. So this example says that the property is located in San Jose. Then it will come 6 digits. That will be the number of the property. Just as an example, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 1 dash. That is the number. And then another 3 digits that will have different meanings. 0, 0, 0 means that there is only one owner. But if you have 001, then means that there should be a 002 and maybe more, depending on how many owners the property would have. So property will be registered pretty much like this. Mm-hmm. Now, let me go back to urbanizations, agricultural, and condominium, because there are some differences. An urbanization, it's let me call it also in Costa Rica, we call it common property. And it's a property that is duly registered according to all the urbanization laws of Costa Rica, which usually have specific things such as the width of the roads, sidewalks, playgrounds, water, electricity, some other utilities that are needed. And also is based on what is called zoning. So each county in Costa Rica, which is in Spanish is called canton, will have their own zoning and will tell us, for example, the minimum sizes of the land, of each property, the frontage to public road, and depending on that zoning, what kind of characteristics each property should have, and of course for what could be used. So we also would have zoning, meaning that could be residential areas, commercial areas, industrial areas, and so on. Mm-hmm. And once more, because it's important, these properties are registered just like this. Now, it happens that long time ago, there was no way of having gated communities for lots or individual houses. So people were using another law that says that agricultural parcels could be segregated and registered as title property through what is called an easement. Now, if you have an easement, that is a private road, which means then that you could also have a gate because it's private, and you could also have a guard because it's private. Now, these agricultural parcels have some restrictions also, besides zoning or besides whatever the county or the municipality says. The two main things are the following. One, in order to access to that property is done through an easement, in Spanish called servidumbre agrícola, translating that, agricultural easement. Number two, the parcels or the properties could not be less than 5,000 square meters, logically speaking. It's for agriculture. So you can have a house, but you will have some agricultural stuff.
For example.
And the other important thing is that no more than 15% of coverage.
15?
Means 15. 15% coverage. This means that could not be roofs or could not be cement more than 50% of the land. But in 5,000 square meters is 750 square meters, which it's huge. It's a lot.
It's a farm.
So a lot of people have been using this that was created, really created, in order to, a dad give a little piece to the son in order to have their own piece of land within the big farm, has been used in order to create gated communities. Problems with the gated communities through an agricultural easement, that there are no enforceable CC&Rs, means that they could have bylaws for that community, but are not enforceable according to the law. Means also that if they want to have some maintenance fees, for example, if I want, I will pay. If I don't, I will not pay, which means then that they are not enforceable as well. And then we have what in Costa Rica is called the condominiums. And look what I'm saying. What in Costa Rica is called condominiums. And I don't want to make a big story out of this, but back in 1966, the first condominium law was approved in Costa Rica. And it was approved according to what worldwide is known as a condominium. Means to have a building that is divided in different sections that we can call apartments or floors, and in which you will be able to have maybe here some retail stores, something like that, and then residential. That was the main idea. But in Costa Rica, we call them condominium. That was just the name. So in 1998, a new law was approved with the name condominio. And condominio, translating that to condominium, according to this law, allow us to have what we call vertical, horizontal, or mixed condominiums, which means that you can have, making this very simple, you can have a gated community of lots, only lots, as a condominium. You can have individual houses in a gated community as a condominium. You can have a building as a condominium, or you can have a combination of lots and buildings in a gated community. But also the use of this condominium could be for residential, or it could be commercial, it could be industry, it could be agricultural farms, or it could be a combination also. The restriction there will be only the zoning according to each city hall. Now, the condominium, to create a condominium, it's a little bit more complicated because we need to take one titled property like this one, and with this specific law and in front of a notary public, we need to create a new land that is called the matrix. It's important to know this in Spanish, matriz, of the whole condo, and individual properties, which we will call filiates, or in Spanish, filiales, which comes from the Latin filis, which means son. So it will be the matrix, the mother, and the sons. And we create then a building under condominium, or we could also create a gated community under a condominium with different lots, and each lot will have their own number. So you will know that a property, it's under the condominium law because we will add an F. So it will say, let me give another example. We'll say Guanacaste 1234-F 000 means filiates, filiate, or filis, or filial in Spanish, means that this is under a condominium. And if you find an M, means that what you're looking is at the matrix, at the main condominium, not the specific lot or the specific condominium that is going to be transferred, but the whole thing. So this is very important because it's very different to transfer, which could not be done, of course, but to transfer or to make any due diligence or to work with the matrix than with the property that it's really going to be transferred. So the F, it's very important for the knowing which is the lot within a condominium. All these three types of lots in an urbanization, agricultural parcel, or a condominium, they are all registered at the public registry and could be purchased, as said, by any what we call physical person under their family name, or any corporation, or it could be put in a trust. We also have another type of properties that I will call it the maritime zone, the beachfront properties. And beachfront properties has also a specific law in Costa Rica which regulates the different options that we have. And I'm going to give 3 or 4 main ideas. First, we have what I would call here the general maritime zone. Means beachfront of all the Pacific of Costa Rica, beachfront of all the Caribbean area of Costa Rica. This is general first. Number 1, from middle tide inside land, we divide this area in 2. Okay, so let's say that we have the ocean, and technically speaking, it's not middle tide, but this is the best way of explaining. We have here the ocean from middle tide inside land 200 meters, divided in 2 areas. The first 50 meters, that it's called the public zone, or zona pública. This area, as the name says, is totally public. Means that there are no private beaches in Costa Rica. It's totally public. The difference is how to get there, but it's public. And then we have what we call the other 150 that it's called the restricted area. This area, this restricted area, it's owned by the Republic of Costa Rica, and it's administrated by each county or each city hall that where the land it's located. Now, this restricted area could be given in what we call a concession. Means that the city will give the land to private people or corporations in order to use this land. For doing it so, something very important is needed, a regulatory plan. If there is no regulatory plan in the area, then the city could not give the concession. Now, talking very general again, only Costa Ricans or Costa Rican corporations could own concessions in this area. Or foreigners with more than 5 years of having a legal residency in Costa Rica. Or Costa Rican corporations that has foreigners there are shareholders, but also with 5 or more years of being a legal resident of Costa Rica. I will explain this a little bit more later. Now, the second area that I want to explain is Papagayo. Papagayo is in a specific area in the North Pacific that begins in Punta Cabuyal, very close to Nicaragua, going down up to what is called Playa Hermosa. In that area, we do not have the 200 meters, but almost a mile inside land. And this land is administered by what we call the ICT, which in Spanish is Instituto Costarricense de Turismo, or we can call it the Tourism Board. And here we do have a regulatory plan, but it's totally the opposite. The idea is to bring foreigners to invest in tourism in this area. So the idea is to give concessions to foreigners, could be done to Costa Ricans, of course, as well, but also the idea is to bring these investors in order to create hotels or condo hotels or tourism in the area. So there is a difference then, because foreigners could own the land without a problem, without even living in Costa Rica. If it is a hotel, it's a little different than if it is a condo hotel. Means that the owner of the hotel, we have the concession for the time that the concession has been given, that is up to 50 years in Papagayo and could be renewed. Now, if a foreigner purchases a condo within a hotel, which is a condo hotel, there is a restriction of the use of that condo. And it's a little law that we call 70-30, which means 70% of the time needs to be given to the hotel operator to rent this out in order to bring more tourism into the area, and 30% of the time could be used by the owner. Yes, I will explain Four Seasons. And there's one more case that I would like to explain that it's very few cases, but there are some cases in which you would have title property up to here. Means we only have the 50 meters, but this area is not a concession, is title. Very few cases, and this was done because since we were part of Spain, and we're talking several years ago, the crown in that moment gave to certain people title property up to here. and that has been accepted since then. So for centuries has been title, and still title in several cases, but very few cases. So if it is title, obviously it's very good to make a very good due diligence on that, but foreigners as well as Costa Ricans will be able to own this property. So as a kind of wrap up on this, obviously what it's much better for foreigners is to buy title property. If you ask me what is better for a foreigner, well, to buy in an urbanization land or a condominium, which doesn't mean that could not buy an agricultural. Several ones have bought in an agricultural with the problems that I have just mentioned. In order to buy beachfront, there will be much more restrictions.